if you really drill down on the ideas, it's much closer to socialism and Marxism than market. Food prices, state-run grocery stores, healthcare, Medicare for all. Try asking anyone getting cancer treatment in England how that's working out for them. And housing with more rent controls, because that always ends well. With us now, Ryan Cummings, former staff economist at the Biden White House Council of Economic Advisors. Good to see you, sir. Am I
good to see you too
going too far out on a limb to say the best thing Republicans have going for them when it comes to the economy is Democrats?
I think it's a little challenging. So, for example, in the Biden administration, whenever we were dealing with a very challenging environment of people very much not liking the economy, one of the mistakes that we made in retrospect was trying to blame other sources that were outside of our control for the high price levels. For example, we called it Putin's price hike after the Russia-Ukraine war. We attributed a lot of price hikes to COVID. And so I think right now for voters, what they've made very clear with this latest election elevating President Trump, Republicans to Congress as well, is that they don't want to hear excuses. They want to see results. So I don't think it's going to be a winning strategy to sit there and say it's the Democrats' fault or they inherited it from Biden. Just similar for us, it was not a winning strategy to say it was Putin or it was the pandemic.
Well, I would argue that there's a nuance there, right? There's a difference in saying here's whose fault it is versus saying you're not experiencing it, which is one of the things that Joe Biden did as well. It's one of the things on this show we've warned the administration about doing. But the word affordability keeps coming up here, right? And this started about 2 or 3 years ago. And today, Tuesday, during State of the Union, this was Donald Trump talking about affordability. Take a listen.
Record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly use the word affordability, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem.
So if affordability is I can't afford things because they become too expensive, doesn't it only make sense that the American people would look back and say, when did they become more expensive? Oh, they became a lot more expensive during the Biden administration. Why would I trust Democrats to fix the problem that they created?
I think the main reason is who's in charge right now, and the answer is President Trump and Republicans in Congress. Again, for us, it was not a winning strategy to say it was the fault of other people, but instead you have to work through your economic agenda and hope that people respond to that and they feel that materially in their lives.
Okay, so your argument essentially boils down to Commander-in-Chief shouldn't make excuses because the buck stops there behind the Resolute desk, but the American people don't really care what the economics are. They just more will vote on a referendum against someone rather than for any policies that may or may not fix it.
Well, I think American people certainly care about the economics.
Isn't that kind of calling the American people stupid?
Certainly not. No, I think American people certainly care about the economics, but I think they care about the economics here and now, today. What is facing them whenever they're sitting around the dinner table?
But they care about the here and now. I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds. They care about the here and now, but when they hear Medicare for all is the answer, I'm not sure how that is what helps them. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I see. I absolutely see what you're getting at. And even if they look back and say, hey, President Biden caused the inflation, even if they believe that, I very much doubt that voters are going to say, well, I'm still struggling and that's President Trump and Republicans off the hook. I think they are going to pay the price for that if they can't communicate to American voters and to people that they've done something.
Well, the flip side of that, you study economics, I study a little bit of politics, which is the American people have short memories. Maybe the other way to say what you're saying.
That's very true. I agree with you there.
All right, Ryan Cummings, thank you very much. We'll have you back.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.